Well, it looks like GameStop has changed its mind. On what exactly? Something known as a PowerPass. That's right, if you were a Power-Ups reward member, you could sign up for this pre-owned, essentially a rental service of any of their pre-owned games. If I remember correctly, it came about around October. They announced it somewhere near the end of October, and it was supposed to launch about the 19th of November. And you had to prepay for like 6 months worth at about $60 a month, I believe. For, no, maybe not $60. Was it $60? Anyway, a pretty good amount. I think it was like 170 some, I guess, for all 6 months, to be honest. But essentially you had to prepay for about 6 months worth, and you can come in and rent any of the pre-owned games. You can get one, take it off the shelf, rent it out, bring it back, get another one, over and over and over for an unlimited amount of time. Unlimited amounts of returning and all that good stuff. Which, on one hand sounds amazing. Because I don't know about you, but how many rental stores do you have in town? I mean, it might be a different story if you live in a city, but where I live, I don't think we have any rental stores left, to be totally honest, now that I think about it. We had a few at one point in time, and then the last one went out of business years ago and became some kind of cafe. But, just looking at it on paper, that sounds awesome. We do have a GameStop. We can make that our rental place. Oh, no, wait, we do have one rental spot. One place that somehow has survived all these years, and they do DVDs and all that good stuff. And games. I just forget they exist besides the red box. But anyway, on paper and everything, it sounds great. However, when I heard about it, I knew there was going to be issues because we did have a used game store once in town that no longer exists, who did a similar program. And because of this program, they actually ran themselves into the ground very quickly. But by the time they noticed it, it was probably too late at that point. And they no longer exist. Now, if you're wondering how in the world would rentals of pre-owned games run somebody into the ground, and it would probably run GameStop into the ground if it's not handled properly, I'll let you know real quick, right now. Pretty much. Essentially what it is you got a store that thrives off of used game sales. Used game sales and possibly accessories, kind of like GameStop does. They make their money from used game sales more, which is why they like to push that on people. And why they are like, get the power-up rewards and all this other stuff, get a little bit off, get some more when you trade back. They're pushing all that stuff because they want you to buy used games. That's why you hear stories of GameStops saying that they don't have something new when they have plenty in stock, just to try and get you to purchase the used version of it instead, because they make more money that way when you purchase the used copy. Now, what happens when you start renting these copies out? So let's say there's 300 used games on the shelves. We'll just go with that. 300 are on the shelf. And people start doing this rental program. Now keep in mind, games tend to depreciate pretty quickly once they come out. Depending on the game, depends on how low the price tends to go, pretty quickly or pretty slowly. And it also tends to depend on the company, because Nintendo's games you can find used, and they're probably about $10 or $5 off the new price. And if they're Nintendo first party anyway. Not to mention, they tend to depreciate a lot slower than most other games out there. But, anyway, you got 300 games on the shelf, and you start renting them out. You get enough people in there that suddenly you've got about anywhere from about 150 to 200 games that normally are on your shelf are now rented out. You've made money with that rental program, but now you have people who want to buy these games. And they come looking into your shop looking for a used game of a particular copy. You have it. It's in your system. The problem is, it's been rented out. And every time it comes back, it immediately goes back out the door. It's never there long enough to do anything with. The person at your counter kind of wants that game now if you got it, but will look elsewhere if you ain't. That's where the problem comes in. When more than half of your stock is now floating out into the ether because it's being rented out and loaned, you're losing on those sales of those used titles. That's why I'm thinking, GameStop probably doesn't really want to do this. Not without some kind of checks and balances more in place than what they had. But to hear that they are now suspending it and refunding anybody who actually paid for it, I guarantee it probably has something to do with the fact that they realized that, and we're coming up to the holiday season. So say Battlefront 2, it just came out, right? People traded it in after a few. And then people start renting out their only existing copies that they've got traded in. And say right now they could sell Battlefront 2 for $50 or $53 or $54 or something like that. Because it's still relatively new. And this is where we're getting to the whole depreciating thing. And then it starts getting rented out. As soon as they keep getting copies in, somebody else rents it out. Somebody else checks it out. Because it's pre-owned. Or it's used. And when they finally get some to stay on the shelf, say 3 months from now, the game itself, what they originally could have been selling for the past 3 months at say $54 or $53, now they can't sell it over $39. That's another issue. They're going to lose money because of that depreciating value. Especially if it's a hot game and then it turns out that it was a flop. It's easier to push those things out when it first starts than it will be several months down the road when they start littering your shelves. And you can't get rid of them. So, yeah, that's pretty much what I've got on that. But, let's see. In order to do the PowerPass, of course, you've got to have the power-ups, rewards. You've got to be a member of that. And, as far as I know, there is no word about when it will return and what changes might be in place of the program limitations that GameStop has apparently reported that it has encountered, which I was calling the second that they even mentioned this, what those issues might be, which we just talked about. But, yeah. To be honest, I wouldn't mind going to GameStop and renting. I don't really want to be a power-up reward member, though. I have in the past, but I just don't shop there enough to make it worth my while. I use the internet, and not GameStop, to do my shopping, but then again, one of my favorite websites apparently no longer exists. I just recently found that out. I know it's been a while since I shopped, but, yeah. I may have to think of another way of shopping, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I'll do the Amazon thing or something, or the Best Buy thing. But, anyway, what do you think? GameStop and rentals. Do you think GameStop could become a rental store only? and make it work. I mean, let's face it. GameStop needs something. Or do you think GameStop is going to be able to balance the rental and the selling of used games in such a way that it works? Or do you think that they're just going to drop this altogether, continue to power through the whole selling of used games, and, a few years down the line wind up being bought by somebody else and totally dismantled and just, goes the way of Blockbuster, I guess? Those are things I'd like to know down in the comments below. So let me know your thoughts. Till then, I'll talk to you later. See ya.
Hey, thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a comment, smash that like button, and always subscribe for more. And of course, there are other videos floating around somewhere on the screen, so click one of those and see if you can find something that suits your fancy. Till then, I'll see you later. Bye.